Join me today for another BattleTech review, this time Blood Rage by Craig A. Reed Jr., which is available in the Fortunes of War Volume 1 collection. This is the Geek Cabal channel. If you've not been here before, my name is Bobbie, and today we're going to be talking about a story available in the Fortunes of War Volume 1 collection. There's two stories. I've already reviewed the first one, which was Giving Up the Ghost by Bryan Young, and this will be Blood Rage by Craig A. Reed Jr. Now, I had a comment on the first video, which I've been kind of busy so I haven't responded to it yet, that was mentioning that this is a novella and not a short story. So, I want to address that here. I actually looked this up. I used to know, but I looked this up, and I'm not sure. And if you're the person that responded, please do so here, or I'm going to probably actually write up a response right after I'm recording this. I don't know if you were trying to say that this, Fortunes of War, is a novella, in which case I think technically you're correct. But I'm not 100% certain on that. However, the two stories within it, by the guidelines I see online, are both short stories. So, now, not to get stupidly pedantic, and I'm not saying this to put down the respondent. I like the fact people comment, especially, if I am wrong about something, or if there's some little bit of lore or something that I didn't include, or that's relevant to the topic. I do enjoy seeing those posts. So, from what I found, at least from what I see online, the minimum to be a novella seems to be around 100 pages. Neither of the stories in this are 100 pages. And the problem is it's two stories in here. So the book is 150 pages. There's some filler in the middle somewhere because of the transition, and it shows the battle mechs from the end of the first story, and so it's not actually 150 pages of text. It's close though. So, but the problem is, again, it's two stories. So I don't think this, as a published work, is considered a novella. I could be wildly mistaken on that, but I believe this is just a collection. I don't know if it qualifies as an anthology. Now, the very back print of this actually does call them novellas. However, again, like I said, from what I saw online, you've got to be 100 pages to be a novella. And neither of these is 100 pages. Now, Blood Rage is close, it's upper 80s. But, and in that regard, I would consider it close enough. It is more complex than a short story. Although the plot is fairly linear and straightforward, it's not a lot of dipping in and out, but because of my reading, that's another thing, is plot complexity, not just length. So, I would say Blood Rage probably qualifies as a novella. So, part of the problem is I don't know if I necessarily want to create another category for BattleTech stories, because right now I have short stories, which the majority of which are like 10 to 20 pages because of the free ones that are available online through Catalyst, or they're the ones from the box sets, and those are all very short. Whereas like Bryan Young's story in this is, I think it's around 50 pages. Let's see, it starts on page 5. Okay, it ends on 63, so 58 pages. Now, that's not quite in the same vein as the other short stories. So, perhaps novella is the proper term here. I don't know. We'll see what I do in editing. But I do appreciate the comment. I just wanted to, depending on which way I go with it, I just wanted to state my case here, and respond, because I thought you could do a better response here. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe novellas is the proper term. We'll see. If I do edit this into novellas, then I'll edit the other video's thumbnail and everything to call it a novella. So might be after the fact, because it's kind of late as I'm recording this. I'd like to get it edited and up. So anyway, all of that pedantry aside, the story is it's a decent story. I've read some of Craig. I hate just saying Craig A. Reed Jr. every time, so I'm just going to go with Craig here, or Mr. Reed. Go Mr. Reed. I've read some of Mr. Reed's other stories. The main ones are the Elements of Treason books. I've read 2 of the 3, and I did reviews on those. And I want to say there's another book of his that I read. I haven't read In the Shadow of the Dragon. I own it, but I haven't read it. Icons of War. That was it. I thought that was a good book. About stealing the McKenna's Pride battleship from Clan Wolf. Well, from the clans. Yeah, I thought there was another story of his. Sorry, I should have had my notes together here just a little bit better. There's the 2 Elements of Treason books. There's something, and I'm definitely missing it. Anyway, in the backs of all these books is a list of the other novels up to that point. So, this story takes place in 3070 in the Federated Suns along the border with the Taurian Concordat. And I need to look into this because I'm thinking that this story seems to, like the way it's set up and everything, I'm wondering if this is describing an element of the lore that's in another book that I'm just unaware of. Because I've not done a lot of reading about this particular era, because the Word of Blake is active at this point, but I don't know if this is technically during the Jihad or not. So, because I don't know the dates right off the top of my head for that. But the main plot involves Hansen's Roughriders primarily, who are stationed on a planet there in the border. And 3 years prior to this, they're the civilians who are associated with them. So like the wives and husbands and children of the mech warriors and soldiers and support staff who move along with the mercenaries, if they're a big enough mercenary company, got obliterated by the Taurians. And so the Roughriders are looking for any chance for vengeance. And they've already wiped out some other Taurian unit. And now the unit that was responsible for the assault is coming to attack the planet that they're on. And the Taurians are kind of deluding themselves into thinking that the Roughriders are just not in any kind of fighting shape. And the younger members of the Taurian unit, who were not there for the massacre, only know the Taurian propaganda side of the story. And you get about 2/3 of the way through, and the commander's like, yeah, no, we murdered a bunch of civilians. And the Roughriders, they respond the way you would expect someone to. And one of our point of view characters is an officer for the Federated Suns who is trying to figure out, like, is it even possible to try to control the carnage that's about to happen, because he needs prisoners to interrogate to find out what the hell's going on. And so you've got a lot of interplays between the various characters and their perspectives on things, but the story ends open-ended. There's not a tremendous resolution. There's a lot of plot threads with the Word of Blake dangling, and so that's why I'm wondering if this is, something that's elsewhere in the fiction or in one of maybe a source book or something, and this is the novelization version of it. And so if any of you know that, let me know down in the comments. But overall, I thought it's a good story, and like I said, it's the reaction you would expect from someone who just had a bunch of people that they care about get killed. A group of people for whom violence is a way of life, and all of a sudden have been given a focus beyond money for this violence. And it's the kind of thing that you expect to see, like, in a movie, because in history, a lot of battles are not straight up death to the last man. One side left standing and the other side is just completely annihilated. That just doesn't happen a lot in history. It's a lot more of like the two groups meet up, go at each other for a while, and then kind of part ways. Or one side has seized an objective and the other side has backed off from it or has given up taking it or whatever. Most battles in history are not to the last man. Because at some point or another, one side realizes, hey, we're losing, and we are going to be down to the last man, it's time to get the hell out of here. Or they exhaust supplies, or just literally physically exhausted, because up until the mention of firearms, you're wailing on each other with melee weapons. And, well, I don't speak from experience, but I have to assume that's quite tiring. Also, total complete side note here. That's why, like, a lot of prop weapons are horribly weighted. They're far too heavy. Like your average sword, I think, if I recall correctly, couldn't be more than about 3 pounds, or you'd wear yourself out swinging it around everywhere. I mean, you have examples of like a flamberge, for instance. That's a sword that's about 6 feet long. Now that was different. That was to break the enemy lines. You literally find the biggest dude you had, which is usually like a blacksmith or something. His job was to go in and just swing that thing with reckless abandon and take out as many men as he could, so then the guys with smaller weapons could charge in. So for BattleTech, you see this. A lot of the battles, obviously, one side eventually retreats, and the other side usually doesn't just run them to ground, relentlessly killing all of them. Because eventually, they've got to hold a position, or they're also running low on munitions or something. So it's rare to see battles where the objective is the complete and utter destruction of the enemy, because it's an unrealistic objective. Usually it's more about breaking their will to fight, or breaking supply lines, or taking out a commander or something. And so here, you see a little bit of a different view, where the Roughriders are doing what you expect to see, what you see in movies. Because in movies, you see that a lot, where it's, they've completely wiped out the other side, and you never see you don't frequently see, the other side riding off into the sunset or trying to escape. They just fight to the last man. It's just completely irrational. It just doesn't happen that way often on a battlefield. So I'm given understanding anyway. But so here this is more cinematic. But again, there's a reason behind it in the story. So it works. This is, like I said, that's not a complaint or anything about the story. It's well written for you to understand that, this is there's a reason for it, and it's an understandable reason. And it's even so far that the commander, Hansen, even tells his Federated Sons liaison, at some point, you're going to have to stop us, because I'm not going to be able to, I'm not going to want to, and it's going to be up to you to be the voice of reason. And we might not listen, but you're going to have to try. So, yeah, he eventually hits that point, but because it has to do with taking prisoners. Because again, Hansen objectively knows they need prisoners because they need intel, but he also knows he wants to kill every last one of them with his bare hands. So he has to weigh these two things within him, and I think the story effectively conveys that. So. But yeah, so if any of you, like I said, if any of you know if this story is, if there's more to this somewhere, I'd be interested. And let me know down in the comments. But yeah, overall, worth read. I think the whole collection, obviously the two stories are not in any way related, other than the fact that they involve mercenaries. I liked both stories. I'm not going to do a combined review video for Fortunes of War Volume 1, just the two stories. That's plenty. I'm going to pick up Volume 2, probably. Well, definitely. Just a matter of when. We're closing in on Gen Con. It's basically a month away now. And last year they had a sale at their booth on a bunch of the books. So I think they're buy two, get one free. And so I might go ahead and pick it up there. If I do, that's probably going to pick up a bunch of the shrapnel issues that I don't have yet. And by a bunch, I mean 5 or 6, because they're into the 20s now, and I only have the first 2. So, and it took me, I think I ordered shrapnel number 1 5 years ago. So I looked it up on Amazon the other day. So I've had it for a while, and it took me this long to get around to finally reading it. So who knows how long it's going to take me to get to issue number 2. But I'll get to the second one of these. It won't be the next book I read. That is Blood Will Tell. I believe is the name of it. I've already started reading it. It's the next book dealing with Deny, Laos, and Treya, and the future of the Lao dynasty and whatnot. So I already know how it ends, and it's well, you have to watch the video, but it's quite the shakeup. And we'll see after that. I've got a couple other like lengthy books, In the Shadow of the Dragon and Letter of the Law. I already have the books, I just haven't got around to reading them yet. So, and I bought a real book that deals with some real world stuff that I'm going to read somewhere in there. So, yeah, it's not just all BattleTech all the time on the book reading front. So, anyway, overall, like I said, I thought both stories were good. I would recommend picking this up. You might have these stories digitally from the Mercenaries Kickstarter if you backed it. I think they were available there, which means I probably have them that way too. But I really don't like reading stories digitally. I vastly prefer the Dead Tree format. So these I probably already have 3 and 4. So yeah, you have to see how long they are. If they're short enough, I might read them digitally and then just buy the book physically. But anyway, there'll be a link down in the description if you want to pick this up off Amazon through the affiliate links. Gives us a very tiny kickback. But there are other ways to purchase it if you prefer, and like I said, you might already own it digitally. So anyway, that's all I've got to say on this one, other than just, again, the overall, check the story out. It's good. Both the stories were good. So, and a link to the review of the first story, and once this one's up, we'll be a link to it from there, and whatever. But yeah, so let me know down in the comments, have you read this? Do you plan on reading it? What's your stance on the short story versus novella thing? Yeah, just let me know all that down there in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Sharing and commenting help us grow the channel, which we always appreciate. And obviously subscribers, it's the name of the game here on YouTube. But yeah, and thank you folks who have helped us get over 500 subscribers here in the last couple months. We appreciate that. Hopefully you stick around. And yeah, and you new folks, hopefully you stick around too. But that's all I've got to say on this one. So just remember, no guts, no galaxy.